Want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live at Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com on this beautiful Thursday, August 15th. Good morning, Rico.
Good morning.
I had to double check the date there, even though I know. I'm like, it is payday.
What year is it?
Yeah, 2024.
Okay.
Yes, I've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to give away so much stuff, and we need to because, we have to give to you before hackers steal from you, right? So, that's the thing. We're here to give. And then, of course, we have a world out there that's trying to take. Breaking news that happened in the last 24 hours. It looks like a group of hackers may have stolen every single social security number from every American citizen in the country.
Sounds so dramatic.
I know, right?
But it's like, everybody, really?
Everybody. Yeah. So, your social security number, it's out there. So, and the thing is, social security numbers, you can't change it like it's a password on Google.
I know.
Yeah, so you just kind of like, you may or may not have your identity stolen. And that continues to happen, like the risk continues to happen as we proceed into the future and stuff. But, I look at it like this. I'm very silver lining, and knock on wood, too. I don't want to put myself in the head of the line. But, like the odds of winning, or the odds of getting your personal information used against you from this hack, considering they have over 330 million social security numbers, I guess it's slightly greater than winning the lottery, but I mean, it's seriously a super long shot.
Right.
It's going to take them a while to go through all those numbers. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it won't happen eventually. But, I feel like we have like a little grace period before they eventually get around to certain areas, unless they start with a certain year or something.
Or just tax bracket in general.
Oh, yeah.
All us poors don't have to worry too much, I think.
I would hope
They're going to look at us and be like, hey, we're good.
This has been my argument for, my entire adulthood, right? Like, yeah, you can steal my identity. You want my credit? Go for it.
Go for it.
Like, what do you
That's the funny thing. It's like all the comments I'm reading online now. It's like if this was 10 years ago or like in a better economy, people would be like freaking out.
Right.
Everybody now in the comment sections are like, yeah, dude, if you want my debt, can you just clear that out for me, please?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
Yeah, like steal my life, please.
Life.
My life sucks. Like, I'll sell it to you, $5.
Right.
And
have it.
And I'll tell you what, there is a certain feeling of security that somebody gets when they don't have anything. Like I've explained this before. Sometimes I'll go into like rough areas. I would explain this when I was in Phoenix when there was rough areas. Tucson's pretty much a general rough area. But I wouldn't get nervous in the ghettoest of places if I look scrubbing or whatever, if I blended in.
Right.
But if God forbid, if I was dressed up for work or something and I go to the same like gas station, I'm like, my butt cheeks are clenched. Like, oh no, they might think I have something. But when I look like I obviously don't have anything of value, I'll walk by like literally a gang of people who all have knives out and be like, nice knives, gentlemen.
Right. You got those from Wish.com too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, who we robbing today?
Right.
I'm hungry.
Hey, fellas.
Yeah. There's, I guess, so if you're out there and you're kind of like, on the downside, don't really have much, then the good side, the bright side of it is you don't have much to be taken from. So, like hackers aren't coming for you. And that's good. As for anyone out there listening who may make like over $500,000 a year, first off, thank you for listening. That's weird. But
we appreciate you.
Yeah.
You got good taste.
Yeah. You should advertise on this station. And secondly, protect your ish. Now, okay. But again, my point to start off this day wasn't to be negative. It was a positive. And the positive aspect of this is, statistically speaking, it is improbable that you will be victimized based off this latest hack. That's the good news, okay? And the even better news is we have a lot of things to give away, and it's so much more likely that you could win some of these great prizes. Here's our rundown today, okay? We still have tickets up for grabs for the Black Moods this Saturday. All right, so that's happening. Our professional bull riding event at the TCC, the PBR, that's happening, and we got a pair of tickets to give away for that a little bit later. And also, meet the chefs, as we've been meeting the chefs consistently. I had Chef Jose from Amelia's Mexican Kitchen in yesterday. I mean, I've eaten there before with veal.
Oh, yeah.
And I've taken pictures and tagged them up. And he's like, I've seen you at my restaurant. Like,
You're legit.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
man.
It's good stuff. I support it. Yeah, I go out of the house and I eat at good places. Okay, so we have that. Meet the chefs that we're going to give away. And starting today, I'm going to give away 2 $50 gift cards for our half off Friday deal that we have going with Whiskey Del Bach. Rico and I recently did the tasting tour of Whiskey Del Bach, which is right down the road from the station here. And it's made here in Tucson. A fantastic mesquite whiskey.
So good.
It was awesome. It was awesome to see the behind the
It
scenes.
was the best field trip I've ever been in my life.
It was a great field. It was a field trip where you get drunk and they feed you. And also, you taste all these fantastic whiskeys and you get to see how it's made. So it was really fun. And I have a $50 gift card for that to give away. So here's the deal. Right off the bat, just to play the odds and to thank you for listening to us right when we start the show, we'll say caller number 10 will get my first $50 gift card to Whiskey Del Bach. Now, starting tomorrow, it'll be a half off Friday deal. For $25, you can get a $50 gift card so you can do some whiskey tasting as well. Must be over the age of 21, but if you would like that $50 gift card, you can call right now, 600-KFMA, 600-5362, and call number 10. That's yours. You know the deal. We're going to start things off with our morning warm. We have a lot of stuff to get to. It's going to be a lot of fun this morning, so keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Here's Smashing Pumpkins. All right, we're getting live on the podcast broadcast. I'm going to welcome everybody here in just a second. Got somebody calling. Rock 102.1. Who's this?
Samantha.
What up, Samantha?
What up? I want to drink some whiskey.
Okay, well, be patient. We'll be giving that
Welcome
away
to the
here
club.
shortly, okay? Okay? You hear me?
Yeah.
You say copy that.
No, not really. Say it again.
I said be patient. We're going to be giving away that $50 gift certificate shortly.
Sounds good.
Can I get a copy of that?
Copy that.
Copy that.
There we
All right,
go.
good.
Everything's
well,
good.
good luck to you, Samantha. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome, everybody, on the podcast broadcast stream. Obviously, that was the show open. Please welcome our in-studio, very special guests. And we're going to squeeze you in there, if you can see on the screen there. First off, we got the founder, owner-operator, Whiskey Del Bach, Stephen Paul. And you know what's crazy? Rico is just catching up with Stephen because it looks like his family is like old family friends with Stephen.
Yeah, it turns out he's my dad.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, hey, Pops.
That's what he was getting to,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
just like, do you know Rena? Yeah, you do.
It was like Whiskey Dynasty. Ooh, today's going good.
Yes, but you lived next to Rico's grandmother or
Great-grandmother,
great-grandmother
yeah.
Grandmother, yeah.
for a long time, huh?
Yeah, in 1978 we moved into that house, yeah. And
Beautiful, yeah. So of course, Tucson. It's a small community, and it's great because he's got a great family. So it was cool to see you guys reminiscing that. So name dropping galore. We have Nicole Lewis as well, who's the sales and experiences director. That's a fancy ass title. And Jana, I don't know your last name, Jana, but
Hoffman,
yeah, Jana Hoffman. And then what's your fancy title?
sales manager.
There you go. Yeah. See, it's not as fancy as Nicole's title. I'll be honest with you.
Spirits and evangelist. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Money liaison.
Yeah. Money liaison is good, but experiences, sales and experiences. Well, that's pretty good. When did you open up the sales and experience position there, Stephen?
well, we've had it for quite a while, but Nicole came in about, 6 months ago?
Yeah, 6
and
months ago.
Nicole's been an amazing addition to our team.
Yeah, because, we did the tour, and we're going to talk about that on the air because as we give out these $50 gift cards, and it's the Half Price Friday, great deal that we like to kind of pump up on our websites. It's that the tour is an experience in itself, the tasting. It's a fun event. And then when we were talking about it, we've had friends do this as well. I think Chef Gary has done this. There was a couple people who are like, yeah, I've done the tasting. It's awesome there. And
I know. I tell all my friends, I'm like, I've done it. I'm like, what? How am I the last one?
late to the party,
Yeah.
dude. You know, there's got to be a lot of us's out there though that haven't experienced this yet, and that's what we want to kind of like be able to share to everyone and say, hey, this excellent way where you could not only learn a little bit about it, but check out this like delicious whiskey that's made right here in our own backyard with a Sonoran influence. And I stress the mesquite flavor, the smokiness, and all the different flavors that you want to present. And you brought the whiskey in this morning, so I guess we're drinking whiskey this morning. Is that what's happening?
That's what we do.
Yeah.
For science.
That is fair. Because you know what? I'll be honest with you. I forgot how all of them taste individually. So I'm going to have to taste them all again.
Perfect. Now, I don't even think I poured this one for you guys.
You did not. And that's okay. I forgive you.
We noticed.
Yeah. So we're going to get on the air. We're going to talk about the different events that you're going to be doing because you keep coming up with different creative ways to showcase new products too, right? Is that kind of like how you marry in your experiences? You have like a new kind of flavor profile and a new line of whiskey, and you're like, how can we do something specific with this?
Yeah, I mean, so we have a line of whiskeys called our Distiller's Cuts. Those are distillery exclusives. You can only purchase either by coming in or online through our website. And we always throw a release party for these new whiskeys. And we do short runs. So once they're gone, they're gone. And they're really unique combinations of like different mash bills and finishing casks and just ways for our head distiller and blender, Mark, to kind of experiment with, just a different side of Whiskey Del Bach. So every time we have a new release, which will be spring, summer, and fall, we will throw a party that's open to the public. Last time we had Parky Sandwiches out there. They did a barbecue sauce with our Dorado and did these really cute cupcakes that also had our whiskey in the frosting, which I don't know how they got that in there, but they were amazing.
They were so good.
That is awesome. How many people showed up to like an event like that when it's open to the public?
I would say probably about 150 people showed up for that one.
Nice.
We get pretty good turnout, and there's free drinks and whiskey, so I say that's reason enough to come.
Yeah, that's a draw. You had me on free for sure, but the setup in there, I was surprised because when you see it, it's in an industrial area, which is right down the street, right? Because you're cranking out mass volume of this. And then go in to see the, not only just the room that showcased the history and the awards that you won, but then there's a full, like, cool-ass bar setup that you got in there.
I'm like, I want that one day.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
great.
the big
The
table.
man
I'm like,
cave.
oh, okay. Now, like, so
Yeah.
I went there for, literally, I was just going to, like, go on, like, a little industrial tour. I didn't even know there was that kind of comfortable setup and be able to do the tasting. And honestly, I wasn't ready for it. And in the most positive way, and this is a compliment, it did ruin the rest of my day. It was a great morning, but a strong nap. It was a strong whiskey nap right after that.
And we also gave you good Mexican food.
You did.
Yeah, you
I know. So I was loaded to the gills, and I had a lot of things on my to-do list that I put off till the next day. So, and that's fine. And I thank you for that. So about 20 seconds, we're going on the FM side. We're going to reiterate on this and continue to stress the importance of this deal, this $50 gift card for $25. It's half off. That's an awesome deal. So let's do that. All right, so 6 seconds. You're going to hear Chili Peppers. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We're live on the podcast broadcast with special guests from Whiskey Del Bach. We got the owner and founder, Stephen Paul, in the building. And good morning. Good to see you again. We also have the sales and experiences director, Nicole Lewis, and Jenna Hoffman, whose title isn't cool enough to just repeat on the air. But still pretty cool.
I appreciate
Yes. We've been talking about Whiskey Del Bach now for a good week since we did the tasting. And, of course, we have all these delicious bottles. We got about 4 of them in studio right now. And we'll want to talk a little bit about the whiskey, which is available pretty much almost everywhere in town, right? A lot of restaurants are carrying Whiskey Del Bach now. Like, when I saw the label, I was like, oh, yeah, I recognize that. The backstory behind, how this started up as just basically almost like a passion hobby of Stephen and his wife with an idea of what if we instill the mesquite smokiness flavor of the Sonoran region and make a whiskey out of that. And through trial and error and many bad batches, eventually he started honing in on what would essentially like spring your brand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, in the early days, I made a lot of bad whiskey.
Now, did bad whiskey still get you buzzed? Would you still drink it if you're like, oh, this is terrible? Gulp, 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 gulp.
Yeah. So, the whole idea was to make a single malt whiskey that was truly from the Sonoran Desert, and so we use mesquite to dry malt, and malt is important in the whiskey making process, and you have to. You have to germinate a barley till it's created an enzyme that'll turn starch to sugar, and then you have to dry the malt. And so in Scotland, they use peat to burn. My wife said, I know what mesquite does to food when you cook over it. Why don't we try drying malt over a mesquite fire? And so that's how the whole thing started.
Yeah, and at that moment when she told you that, did the light bulb go off and be like, you're not only beautiful, but you're brilliant. Like that.
Well,
you're on something.
Yeah, I've always called her idea woman.
Yes.
And so yeah, they're nonstop with her.
Yeah.
That one worked. Here's 10 more.
She comes up with great ideas for all the work that you need to do. Like, I got an idea for your next 20 years.
Hear
Let's
me
go
out,
do
hear me
this.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, our daughter's my co-founder. We had a furniture design company for 30 years. That specialized-
Using the mesquite wood too. So,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So you end up having an abundance of this. And so, it was easy to kind of tie the two together. And you always had kind of like a love for mesquite, right?
I did. Grew up in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, love this place, and just the idea of being able to make a single malt whiskey that was truly from here is what really grabbed me, and I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, and I think I told you this at the tasting, but we love like our culinary scene here, and we love the chefs who are incorporating our Sonoran influences and creating a cuisine just to take it to that next level. And it's there's so many different plates out there that are so uniquely Tucson, right? That the whiskey Del Bach, it basically captures that same thing. This desert region, the Sonoran Desert flavor and style, and it's so great to be able to encapsulate that in a spirit like this.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, when you mention all the chefs, I mean, it is so fun to, be in Tucson where people really celebrate this place.
Yeah.
And it goes way back to Janos Wilder in the beginning. He's our first James Beard Award winner in kind of like the 90s, I think. But you guys mentioned Chef Gary at Charo Steak. They've been a longtime supporter. Chefs here use local ingredients, wild ingredients, indigenous crops, and so it's a special place. Our UNESCO City of Gastronomy designation has really increased national and international awareness of this food diversity here. It's so cool to be in Tucson. All these creative people are just make it a wonderful place.
Yeah, absolutely. And putting Tucson on the map on a national and international levels, which is fantastic. And you've been a part of that, and we thank you for that. Now let's talk about events, because we have, starting tomorrow, our half-off Friday. For $25, you can get a $50 gift certificate for Whiskey Del Bach to be able to participate in tastings. But what essentially does that mean, and what cool different events are you going to be having at Whiskey Del Bach coming up here in the future?
Yeah, so the gift cards certainly can get you a little tasting at the distillery, and I say little, but you're getting at least 4 pours of our main 3 whiskeys, and then we have another seasonal collection that includes our Frontera, which is a Spanish sherry cask, and our Normandy, which is a French apple brandy Calvados cask finish.
That was my favorite.
It's
so good.
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And then again, you get to try, your pick of distillers cuts. But we have a lot of really cool events coming up. Mainly, we are doing a partnership with Monsoon Chocolate, and we chose 4 of their chocolates that pair with each of our whiskeys. And we'll be having a launch party in 2 weeks. The tickets for the first part of the event already sold out, but you're welcome to come through for the second part for the open house. We just R&D'd our chocolate old fashioned yesterday, so I'm really excited about that.
Steven, doesn't like chocolate pair with whiskey naturally, normally? Is that, or is this something kind of like newish? Because I feel like it seems like those two flavors kind of like complement each other.
They absolutely do.
Okay.
Yeah, it is really fun to drink whiskey and try different chocolate flavors.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you think it brings out some of the flavors there?
Absolutely.
Both?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a really fun thing.
You wine people can keep your cheese.
yeah.
I'll go
We'll
with the
take our
whiskey folk.
chocolate and whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's a winning combination right there. So do you have events? So does it look like you might have an events calendar, right? At whiskey.bach.com.
absolutely.
Now, Bach is spelled B-A-C. Now, the name, why you came up with Whiskey Del Bach is your name, by the way.
Well, this was also my wife's idea. We wanted to express where we're from. So she said, let's brand ourselves after Mission San Javier del Bach. Most listeners know about our mission, San Xavier del Bach. And a Bach, it turns out, is the Tohono O'odham word for a place where there's surface water along our normally dry Santa Cruz River.
Yeah, yes.
And so the mission was founded at a Bach, so they could grow crops. And so we're just Whiskey Del Bach. And Bach was translated to us as place where the river reappears in the sand. So, and Del, most people know that Del is Spanish for of the. So we are whiskey of the place where the river reappears in the sand.
I love that. Yeah, and I'm looking at the event calendar right now. August 15th to the 19th is U of A movie in week. And it's a BOGO tour, so buy one get one. So you guys will have a movie screen set up and.
Oh, just for the move-in week.
Move in. Sorry.
I would like to do movie screenings.
No.
It's like, no, we don't have Jurassic Park
I just
playing.
can't read. That's my
No.
fault. And it also shows where Del Bach is going to be at various locations. So, like up in Phoenix, at the Van Buren with the Dead South. So, what is your association or affiliation with the Dead South and Whiskey Del Bach?
Yeah, I believe Kelly, our sales rep in Phoenix, is actually just a huge lover of the Van Buren venue.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
It's an awesome place. And so we're going to be there for 2 shows, The Dead South, and then The Sinceres was actually one of my favorite bands. I'm really trying to get him to give me a free ticket because I would love to go. But we'll essentially be, showing up and offering samples to folks who go buy tickets for the show.
Nice. This is a cool thing too, where like when you're doing tastings, you want to make this like an event. This is a different kind of date night, and this is great for couples who do the same thing over and over again. You want to switch it up, entertain yourselves, sip on a little whiskey, and you got a leather workshop, so you could actually like kind of craft some like. Of coasters and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're working with Tandy Leather, which is an amazing historic leather working shop. And so we're going to be learning coaster making, like in terms of stamping. And then he is also going to be doing a demo on marble dyeing techniques, which involves like shaving cream and like things that I don't understand. So that's why we have a facilitator. That's not me.
Yeah, so with this, for example, it'd be $75. You're going to get a tasting. You're going to be able to do the leather crafting. But, of course, if you get, for $25, you can buy yourself a $50 gift certificate, and then that would only cost you, it'd be $25 less. See, that's math on the fly. And the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. That's just how it works,
You got a calculator.
Yeah, but so many different great events, which is so fun that you're constantly updating your calendar for different places or different events that you're going to be doing at Whiskey Del Bach, and then also other locations and events where you're going to be at where you could have Whiskey Del Bach. And I think that's great that you do them both in the event calendar as well. You point them home, but then you also point them outward, which is good. What's your favorite cocktail to make with Whiskey Del Bach?
Oh, man, so we had a bar takeover at Batch Whiskey. Why did I almost want to say Whiskey Kitchen? They're not a
Snake and Barrel.
Snake and Barrel. We went to Snake and Barrel, and they made a New York sour with our Dorado mesquite smoked whiskey. I love New York sours. It's essentially a regular whiskey sour with ideally a Pinot Noir float on top. It's really pretty. But that was probably my most favorite. I also love going to Nightjar. They make a boulevardier with artichoke amaro. So the chinar really is amazing.
Nice. Now, Steven, before you hide her, did you ask her a bunch of whiskey related questions? Like, what are you drinking on? And does she have to know her cocktails to get the job?
You know, she just bowled us over with her winning personality and her enthusiasm for what we're doing.
All right, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And her willingness to work for whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just pestered them for long enough until they literally created a job for me. So.
And let that be a lesson to all kids out there. You really have to be persistent, honestly, to really get those jobs nowadays. I think there's a new generation that will fill out something online and then just sit at home for 3 months, not do any follow up, and just complain that they don't have any jobs. I'm talking about my daughter right now. I'm sorry.
Honey, this kid's been in our parking lot for 2 days straight.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You got to create those jobs, which is fantastic. Well, I love it that you guys are a part of this Half Price Friday, and the tasting is such a fun environment. So I look forward to going to it again. And each of these events, they're uniquely different. So it's something that if you've done it before, you probably haven't done it the same way twice, or you can't do it the same way twice with all these different variations of events that they're having at Whiskey Del Bach. So I know if you see Del Bach on the menu, give yourself a pour, order a drink, and make sure you go for their classic mesquite flavor so you could bring out that kind of sense and then go down the rabbit hole from there. Now, the special bottle that you brought, that's the special one. What's the long bottle?
That's our Sentinel Rye. That is a 2-year and a 3-year rye that we actually sourced from a different distillery, but we put our Sonoran flair on it. So what we did is we took it, put it into our used Dorado barrels, and then pulled it out and did what I call the Pima County process.
What's the Pima County process?
So it's where we filter it over the mesquite charcoal left over from our malting process.
Okay, nice. Well, that's a lot cleaner than I was thinking. All right, well, we're going to sip on some of that. I'm going to play some music from Shinedown, but I do also want to give a $50 gift certificate to Whiskey Del Bach away to caller number 10 right now. So 600 KFMA, 600-5362. We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast, and we'll have Herb Stratford joining us coming up next. But I'd like to thank you guys for coming in and filling us in. I look forward to sipping some whiskey with you in the near future. And congratulations on all the success, and here's to many more years of it. All right.
All right.
I'm cheersing now. I got whiskey in my hand. So Whiskey Del Bach. Check out the event calendar at whiskeydelbach.com, and Bach is spelled BAC. And again, starting tomorrow, $50 gift cards for only $25. Load up. It's our Half Price Friday deal. We'll be back with more after this. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Clear. Excellent. Thank you. What else can we cover that we may not have?
I forgot that he got some of the Normandy
That is
straight out
good.
of the doohickey.
Oh yeah. This is releasing. This is our next whiskey release. It's happening in the first weekend of September. That's insane.
Yes.
So this could be a cool one to taste and talk about, or
It's good to get warm in the belly
Yeah, it is.
early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So is Herb coming next?
He is. Do you know Herb?
I do. Of
course you do.
He's doing over the Teatro Carmen in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Steven knows everybody.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm noticing that.
But that's a cool project. It's an old little tiny theater.
Well, we had the photos last time he came in of the Fox.
Well, no, yeah, because that was on KOLD. I think they showed photos of a young Herb Stratford,
Young Herb.
starting to renovate the Fox and then how that looked. It's amazing.
Yeah,
what he's able to do. So always does good work. He's a good friend, and we have a blast with him. Yeah.
Cool.
Would you like some, Steven?
No thanks.
Would you like some, Nicole?
we could also talk a bit about I know you guys already did the.
Well,
tour of
we're
American
probably gonna have to talk about that next time, Nicole. To be honest with you, we're sorry. We got a jam-packed little thing. We gotta
you're
keep
fine.
it moving.
You're fine.
Let's see. Rock 102.1. Who's this?
This is David.
David, you're caller 10, so I'm gonna hook you up. All right.
Awesome.
See, he's stoked about that.
Yes.
All right. For the rest of you guys, earlier this morning we did our morning moron and went a little something like this. Check it out. Foo Fighters with Under You on Rock 102.1 KFMA. It's now 6:15 and time for your morning moron. Oh, entitled rich kids. Am I right there, Rico?
Am I right?
You know, any entitled rich kid is a morning moron in my eyes, especially when they do some entitled rich kid stuff that makes you want to kick their ass.
Ever since I heard the word affluenza,
Affluenza?
Affluenza's a thing.
I thought it was the flu.
That's influenza.
Ah, yes.
Affluence.
Okay. That's not a flu for rich people?
Might as well be.
Yeah. Well, anyways, if you're rich, you may be able to hide some mistakes for a price, but there's some mistakes you can't. For instance, crashing your car into a house is a difficult mistake to try to sweep under the rug with some money. And one morning moron found this out the hard way after a woman in Virginia was jolted awake in the middle of the night last Friday after a car crashed into her home. Now, she's in Virginia. It's the middle of summer. She thought it was a tornado at first, right? Because who's going to drive a car into her home? It's not like she lived on the corner or anything. Now, police say a 2017 yellow Dodge Charger veered off the road at a high speed, maybe about 100 miles an hour, hit a fence, careened across a yard, ripped through an above-ground pool, yeah, and then slammed into a deck, which, show me that video. That sounds badass. I just want to see him, like, drive through an above-ground pool, slice that water in half, dude, and keep going. Yeah, those Chargers, man, built to last. So the homeowner says that she was confronted by the driver, and the guy right off the bat offered her $50,000 if she let this go without calling the police. What a great, I wish, I want video of all this.
For real.
Unfortunately, I have video for none of it.
What's your Venmo?
Yeah. Now, she said that he offered her lots of money and said that his dad was a billionaire. Okay, well, this is how I would respond. Oh, if your dad's a billionaire or a millionaire, then why are you driving a 2017 Dodge Charger, bitch?
Oh.
Yeah. You know, that's like 7 years ago. 8, if you really count that. You could probably get a 2017 in 2016. That's the way cars work. Anyways, but he did say, my dad's a millionaire. Can I pay you $50,000? And she's like, no, I'm calling the police. And then he ran off, leaving the car on the property because I'm guessing that it wasn't going anywhere. The police have identified the suspect. Super easy, considering he left the car there. And it's unclear if they arrested him or if they accepted $50,000 to make it disappear.
He's like, somebody's going to get this money.
Yeah, now it's also unclear how old he is, but, obviously, he's a dumbass either way. And for that, we're calling this affluented. Did I say that right? No, I didn't.
Close enough.
Okay. Dude, a morning moron. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. That was Crowbot with Low Life. Welcome back to the show. It should be no surprise to you if you listen to this show on a regular basis that I'm an OG Corey Feldman hater. I do love seeing his shows because his shows are so hilarious for all the wrong reasons, okay? But I also know Corey Feldman as a person, not necessarily the best dude. So it's easy to hate on this guy, especially since, he's so delusional. Now, I don't know if you've been noticing this on social media recently over the past few weeks, but ever since the Loserville tour started with Limp Bizkit, which Corey is opening up on, there's been tons of videos of Corey Feldman going viral on various social media platforms. In fact, actually, my original clip of me talking smack about Corey Feldman continues to get hits and comments on a regular basis just because of the traffic that this guy is generating online, which is good.
He plays that video every opener, too.
No, I wish. Yeah. No, because he wouldn't, because he doesn't listen to any kind of constructive criticism. And, my problem with Corey is he fakes too much. All right, so he fakes like he's Michael Jackson, thinks that he's Michael Jackson, even though he was friends with Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson was still alive, right? But he thinks he's like Michael Jackson reincarnated. So his whole shtick and bit initially was him trying to be the king of pop. Okay, and his moves, everything, his cadence, his one glove. He would wear one glove, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's,
all about it.
Okay, but it didn't stop there. So now, as he's playing with his band and his angels, as he calls them, which he has to, change out every couple months because of allegations. Look into it. That he starts thinking he's a rock star, and he's been playing guitar solos on his show. And the thing that makes it so funny, again, it's all comical. Because of his face and his delusion and how bad he is. So, a lot of videos are response videos where there's actual trained guitarists, pointing out how he's not playing or, how poorly he's playing. Here's an example of a Corey Feldman guitar solo, okay? With reverb up to 11, by the way.
Like a real rock star.
Look at his face. Now, there are a lot of jokes online you'll get, and the same comment over and over again, a reference from Back to the Future. Like, you may not like it, but your kids are going to love it, right? So, super bad. But, okay, so with that, that's not an impressive, that's not a Slash level guitar solo by any means, but he does give Slash faces. He does, you walk around like he's Jimi Hendrix afterwards. Like, this is a huge part of his spectacular, the Corey Feldman experience, right? But a lot of trained guitarists have been accusing him of not playing that terrible solo, saying it's all tracked. And there have been certain examples of him doing notes where his hands are in the wrong places and the whole nine. So that's been part of the viral campaign. Now, Fred Durst has seen this because it continues to come up in conversation.
Oh, he's embracing the cringe.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we'll get to that part. That's not neither here nor there at this point. Because it was smart for Fred to book Corey Feldman on this tour, specifically for the amount of press that Corey is generating through viral ridicule. He is getting so much. There's a whole bunch of other people on this lineup. No one else is getting talked about. They're not even showing clips of Limp Bizkit performing in viral unless Corey Feldman is there on one of those e-scooters kind of rolling around.
So he's the equivalent of the Olympic guy that had hit his dong on the pole.
Yes.
So it's like he did the most outlandish thing, gets all the attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He is basically the sideshow. He is the loser in Loserville. But that is what people have been walking away with from this experience is they got the nostalgia of Limp Bizkit, but at the end of the day, they're also I did get to laugh my ass off at the delusion of Corey Feldman. But anyways, Fred Durst, while Corey's performing, came out early as a surprise to all the early birds that came out to a Loserville show and addressed these issues and sat down and challenged Corey to perform in front of him. And it went a little something like this. Check this out. All right.
Corey Feldman is not. Word on the street is Corey Feldman is not playing this guitar solo. I want to know if Corey Feldman is really playing this motherfucking solo. How about you? Okay. No tricks, no tracks, no nothing. Straight up, right? Hit it.
So Fred gets a chair, sits down right in front of Corey's guitar, tells him to play in front of the tens of 20s of people there excited to hear it.
Stop. Start again.
The crowd is too generous. There you go. So that was Fred Durst being like, shutting the haters up. But you didn't shut them all up because, Fred, I'm here to say to you and anyone there that was cheering, giving him sympathy cheers, still not impressive. All right. Yes, he was tinkering around with his reverb and echo, and it didn't sound anything awesome. Didn't sound anything well trained or like he even practiced. And his face is like he's Jimi Hendrix during all of it.
Yeah,
Makes
you
it
guys gotta see
100%
the
cringe.
face. They have to watch the face.
You got to see the face.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You're hearing me say Corey Feldman's name. That means your phone is hearing this too. And before the day is over, if you go on social media, you will see one of these videos and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So still, OG Corey Feldman hater right here, continuing that and spewing it out there. The guy's a joke. All right, let me hit the reset. We got more coming up after Pearl Jam. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. All right, we're back after those clips here with film critic Herb Stratford. Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Herb. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Yes, and I'd like to thank again our Whiskey Doll Bach friends. I felt bad because I was hoping to get him a little earlier. Didn't want to push him out, but, it's one of those days where it gets crazy on Thursdays.
We'll have him back.
Oh yeah, I would hope so, especially with all those bottles.
You should have said, "Can you leave the bottles?"
I know.
I
You guys can
know.
move along, but yeah.
Right, because I was just like, I got to pre-record some stuff, and I want to do that wasted. I hear I'm more charming when I'm about 3 sheets to the wind. That's what I hear. And in fact, actually, I know this, and I've done plenty of shows where I've been drunk once a year on my birthday.
On a different station.
Yeah, on a different station. Unfortunately, no, I've been pitching this Tequila Sunrise thing forever, but I've done
Persistence.
annually for 7 years. On my birthday, I would set up the show in a bar and broadcast live and put on a super show. And people would come out to be in the audience, and they're buying me shots, and I'm drinking Bloody Marys. I'd be wrecked and still handling everything I'm doing here. I'm still on it. And then the cool thing about that, you start at 6 a.m. and then come like 3 in the afternoon, you're still drinking. And you're like, what time is it? And you're like, oh, it's 3. I still got time.
Let's do it.
It's amazing. So
Buffet bar will be perfect.
yeah. Now, before we get into our film reviews with Herb, Herb was busting my balls that I don't have MTV, and he got to watch the season premiere of the challenge, season 40, which if you guys have been following along, we both geek out on.
Yes, you do.
I'll tell you what though. Yes, I didn't see the full episode, but what I do is piece together clips I could find online, and I create my own episodes, and then I listen to podcasts, and I'm a huge nerd about it. So I got a general understanding. There was no eliminations last night, right? Just deliberations.
Yep.
A little bit of drama, a little bit of tea, and did you enjoy it?
I did. I was, and of course, I'm always surprised because I think, they've exhausted all the twists, right? There's nothing new they can do, but every year, every season, right?
Yeah.
There's something fresh, and this is so unruly because with 40 contestants, right? But what they divulged, they didn't actually finish it, but there's there's 8 elimination rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like you're gonna lose a bunch of people.
And it makes
right
sense
away.
to them from a budgetary standpoint, right? So it starts at 40 contestants, but literally night 1, they get rid of 8, and so it's really 32 contestants, which is still, I think, the largest cast they had. I think the biggest they had before that was 30-30, where it was 30 contestants, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe World of the Worlds 2 had a good amount, but they never necessarily go too much above that. Because all these contestants too, like a lot of people don't know this, but because you see the reality TV aspect of you're playing for $1 million prize, right? But all of these contestants are reoccurring characters who all get paid guarantees to be there, and then they get paid on top of how long they could actually stay in the game. So it's easily like some of these people are going to make $1 million whether they win the grand prize or not.
It's true. And I mean, actually, I don't know if you saw, but there was a New York Times story yesterday about the challenge, which was sort of cool because they were talking to Johnny and CT, and it was good. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's as much mainstream as sort of you and I feel like it is. It actually, with this milestone being like the longest running reality show, it is.
Yeah.
It is mainstream.
And they're getting a lot of press for it, too. Yes, and you're seeing them pretty much everywhere. And yes, I've seen it all. So that's another thing, too. So I have been geeking out on it. I am ridiculously dumb where it's just like that's been a 24/7 cycle. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Apparently, they're producing and releasing content all the time. Not just a challenge. I'm saying other places and series and movies.
Yeah,
It's your happy place.
Yeah.
It is, dude.
It's your safe space.
It is. And Herb and I, just for the record, Herb and I would have killed it if we were part of that universe.
Really?
I think so. I think so. I think Beef's raw talent would have destroyed. You would have been the CT.
Yes.
And I think I would have been some sort of I probably would have been some sort of a schemer, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Schemer. Not Wes.
The Machiavellian
and not
one.
Devin, but I would have been,
Herb
Mark,
Stratford,
maybe.
you look like you would have been great with puzzles, and I would have been the guy that would have been able to eat the cow balls without a problem.
Yes.
Together, you're unstoppable.
Yes. If we're on the same team, which would be a rivals, then
Wonder Team powers activate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're live on the air. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Obviously, you recognize the voice of film critic Herb Stratford, who's joining us here on the podcast broadcast. Each and every week, he likes to give us a rundown of some new releases that he's excited about. And we'll start with a movie that stars The Professional, Like you remember him, right? What's his name?
Jean Reno.
Jean Reno.
Yes.
Oh.
And the way you said it.
You have to say it Frenchy. Come on.
It's beautiful.
You
Very
say
well
it
done.
Frenchy, dude. Yeah.
Jean Reno. There, you happy?
Thank you. Well, Jean Reno is still acting. I didn't know this.
He is, and he's not as bad looking as, say, Gerard Depardieu, who's just sort of like a caricature of himself. So, yeah.
Well, dude, cigarettes and cheese will definitely make you age rapidly, right?
It's true. It is true. And I love this story because I don't know if you guys all remember this, but it's a true story about a fisherman, sort of a lonely guy, and he discovers this way off course penguin and sort of nurses it back to health. And it's sort of a sweet story. And then what happens after that is the penguin comes back and visits him every year. It's like, are
really?
you kidding me?
I thought you were going to say he ate it.
Or
What a
was gonna
sad
kill
twist.
him.
No.
Okay.
So it's just like a really sweet story about, man and nature, right? I mean, this is like,
This is inspired by a true story?
Yes.
Wow.
So what a cool thing, right? That this penguin, like, he recognized that this guy helped him, and he comes back, and he realized that he was sort of sad, right? And he's like his friend. So,
Wow.
what a nice change, right?
Aw.
From all the vitriol and everything else we're dealing with, just to have a nice sort of animal person story.
Well, you got the you have the mom demo covered because you hear Mari kind of cooing in the background.
So
and a little
sweet.
adorable. And then but there is a sad reality to the actual truth. I mean, this guy is like depressed, manic, and everything, and his best friend is a penguin. Everyone else in town hates him.
See, I love how you go dark. Like, we're over here like how sweet this is, and you're like, there's got to be a bad side.
Yes.
No, the
Penguin,
bad side is the reality, right? And it's inspired by true events. If I wish it was 100% true, and then you're just really dark. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I mean,
I'll do you one better.
Okay,
Hey,
please.
Penguin, you're my best friend. Help me hide this dead body. There.
Yeah, that's
Or maybe this is him after The Professional, and he's relocated into the witness relocation
An
program,
assassin penguin?
and he actually then trains the penguin. I like it. The sequel.
watch
Sign me up.
The sequel.
That is an amazing story, though, and it's really cool to see. And so, what has been the early buzz about the penguin?
It's this is at 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not bad.
Some cynical, clear people like myself,
yes,
some
exactly.
bro dudes are like, it's a little too soft.
Yeah.
For my liking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my penguin friend. It's
Penguin
not
is
called the
sus.
penguin. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's good. And this is a theater release
Yes,
as well?
it is. Absolutely. So,
Okay, you know what? This actually probably be a good date movie as well, or just something to go out and add a little bit of art and nature. And it's always good to see Jean Reno.
He tried.
Yeah, he did good effort.
Thanks. Yes. I mean, besides The Professional, what's your other favorite Jean Reno film?
Oh, man.
Because you say it aggressively.
Oh, Ronin.
Yeah, Ronin. Yeah, I would go with that. And I mean, he's been in a lot of action films, but Ronin was like
Top tier.
Yeah, he was not just sort of window dressing. He actually was. He's just a great actor. And I mean, like, the Frenchies, a lot of times, it's like Gerard Depardieu, you know what I mean? They fall into these sort of like stereotypes. But Jean Reno seems like he can go across genres.
Yeah.
At that point.
He could work with kids. He could work with penguins.
That's right.
Who else can he
You
work?
steal
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah,
You do it all.
exactly.
He can't be a romantic lead, but I mean, no. All right. So I like to bag on him. Let's keep the conversation moving. For the sake of time on the podcast broadcast, we'll have more with Herb Stratford because there is something that is being released, a 10-episode series on Apple TV called Bad Monkey. Should you see it? Should you avoid it? We'll talk about that next on Beef Vegan Presents. Stick around. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. I don't know why I'm
like
hating on Jean Reno.
The next movie is
The
going to be
whisk.
him and Steve Buscemi doing like gigolos. You're just like, okay, I
A
see that
remake
one
of-
coming.
No, a remake of Night at the Roxbury or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like, all right.
And it's funny you said the whiskey. I had like little half a shot, and all of a sudden I'm like, fuck that guy!
It's increasing your sass.
Penguins.
I'll fight him right now!
How many penguins could you fight? I can fight 80 at one time. No, good question. Would you rather fight an army of penguins or an army of octopuses?
Penguins.
Yeah, same.
They're so
Well,
sweet.
duh. Yeah, you could win against an army of penguins. An army of octopuses would tear you limb from limb before you even knew it. You know what I mean? They're smart.
That was
They play
dumb.
mind
You're right.
games.
That was dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're terrible.
It was a good effort.
That's why you're not in charge of Would You Rather.
That's true.
So-
Very true.
In fact, actually, let's
Mari's
bang one out.
kids.
Let's bang one out. All right, Mari, what you got for Would You Rather since we got Herb Stratford hanging out with us here in studio? I always like to see him squirm.
All right, these aren't squirmy ones though.
Okay, that's fine.
Aw.
Would you rather go to dinner with Hannibal Lecter or Patrick Bateman?
Okay, Hannibal Lecter or Patrick Bateman. So you're
Psycho.
talking, yeah, the Psycho.
American
All right,
I got a
Herb.
good answer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, since you since you
I'm
interjected,
excited.
so like with your monotone serial killer-esque voice, please tell me which one would you
Let's
rather?
return some videotapes. No, I choose Patrick because he only kills the ladies. I think.
Oh no, he killed what's his face, Jared Leto.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch out.
Okay.
You're like Patrick because I work with him. What do you say, Herb?
I'm going to say Hannibal Lecter because I feel like the conversation would be like just at another level. I just feel like he's so smart. I would just I'd be terrified, but I would just be like, that's a conversation that I'd want to have.
Yeah, let's not forget, he sounds pretty pretentious when he talks about like teaming up a Chianti with fava beans, you know? Like, yeah, it seems like a conversation that you probably have with your like hoity-toity friends.
It's true.
Yeah, so that's would you
Like
rather
today, I
one?
learned that Chopin was left-handed. I didn't know that.
Really?
Now he's eating my liver. Cool.
All right, let's see. All right, Mari, you got another would you rather for us?
Yeah, I got another one. Just,
All right.
Would you rather be a medieval knight or a Roman gladiator?
I feel like amongst this crew, Herb Stratford, Rico, we've talked about how guys are obsessed with the Roman Empire.
know.
I feel like that's an easy answer, right? Like
I don't know.
All right, Herb, you grew up during both eras. Which one would you rather relive?
I'm gonna go with Knight actually because I feel like there was fewer of them, and I feel like you had a longer longevity chance of life than a gladiator. You know what? You're on a short leash because you're in that thing. Your days are numbered unless you're Maximus. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Agree or disagree there, Rico?
Typical, bro. Is it towards the Byzantine Empire era? Let me think. No, I go with the knight.
Really?
I mean, yeah, you would go out on a
Begrudgingly.
yeah, begrudgingly.
You got a squire. You know what I mean? Like the whole.
You get the
thing.
horse, the suit,
Yeah.
but then again, you do get in those battles where it's like just grueling. I don't know if you saw the opening of that movie, The King, where like how grueling those battles were, where they just literally like grapple and wrestle and get out of breath, and a guy stabs you in the neck.
But
for your
also
little piece.
remember the Black Knight in Monty Python.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So-
You lose all your limbs and
Yeah.
be fine.
You know.
Well, what about Shrek? I mean, there was talking donkeys. It was pretty good times back then. Those are all
one,
movies,
Mari.
guys. That's not real life.
Neither is Mari's situation. I can't do either.
You could LARP.
Yes, you can LARP all
What are
day.
you talking about? That was real life when they wrestled. Grappling. And then they got stabbed in
You're
the
like,
neck.
I once learned by watching Robin Hood that they.
Historical documents and documentaries and scholars. Okay, it's not Shrek.
All right, let's do
How
one.
dare
you? Got one
you.
more?
Well, this one's just not that good though.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The first two weren't that good either, but we made it.
Why stop now?
Yeah. We're making it good. Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Well, okay. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out between both.
Okay, we don't have to. Oh, you know what you could do is you could put. Oh, what?
Okay, I'll just ask it.
Okay.
Would you rather your shoes always be too big or wet?
Oh, God, actually, that is a little more difficult than I initially. My first instinct was like, Psha, that's easy. You know, for years I was wearing size 12 shoes, right? Because I was told I was size 12, and I feel like I'm size 12. But now I'm starting to fit in size 11. Like my feet are shrinking, and they feel pretty good. So you could live with having shoes that are too big without even noticing them. And, you know, unfortunately, girls aren't impressed by the shoe size, no matter what they say. But wet shoes is like one of the most annoying thing that you could ever feel, right? Because it's like you're carrying around an extra 100 pounds. You're hearing a sloshing sound.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, and you know that your feet are going to reek when it's all said and done. So, I mean, is there
Yep.
any answer other than oversized shoes?
No.
All
You
right.
get bad blisters with oversized shoes, though.
You get all the diseases with wet ones too over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
trench foot. Yeah,
Trench
no,
foot.
not good.
Look at you. You brought us together. We're all in agreement.
How dare you, Mari?
All it took was wet shoes to get us all
Yep.
together.
Wet shoes. Big cloppers, gang.
I'm trying. The speed breaks I'm recording here. I'm trying to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Haha.
Haha.
We're just doing fast walk breaks, not speed breaks.
Yeah. He's like, 15 more jokes. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. What ramp am I going to find to fit this?
We got to have a chart for your finger signs.
Yeah, what should they be?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's an excellent question. And put up a chart right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this is like wrap it up, like
Okay,
1
wait,
minute.
This is, or should this be?
Yeah, it should be.
Right.
It
Should be the
should be
circle.
this.
You know what, though? I don't like doing that because it's like kind of passive aggressive. If I went to you, Rico, and I was just like,
Well, that's why it's not working. I'd be like,
Right?
oh, I get it.
I
But
get
if you
it.
go like this, you're like, good point.
Yeah.
But- I will say
Good
this,
one.
though, too, because
I've got 1 minute left.
Yeah, 1
yes,
minute.
yeah, 1 minute left. But for speed breaks, that won't work.
Yeah.
But I will say doing this is not good because we are on camera, so you want to kind of be like, not,
Stealthy.
yeah, you're nonchalant because a lot of times you don't see my hands moving when I'm pressing these buttons.
What if you just
don't
go
know what
like?
I'm doing?
What about you just go like this?
Yeah, yeah.
Tug on the ear.
Then you're basically, you're showing me what you're thinking, you son of a bitch. All right, I got about 2 minutes before we get on the air where we're going to talk about the Apple series, and then what's this one fast move junket clip?
Because I had this piece of paper. That's what I did at the station this morning at the TV. So
Okay, so
it's on my YouTube channel. It's an interview with Eric Dane and Edward James Olmos.
That's a big deal, dude. Eric Dane. Well, it was a big deal when he was the Hulk, and then.
No. Eric Dane wasn't the Hulk.
Oh shit. Okay.
He was on The Last Ship. You ever watch that show?
All right. Let's watch. Let's check out like a little bit of Herb interacting.
So,
with, these
let me
guys.
just start off by saying,
Last
did either
ship,
one of
huh?
you guys have any
that guy.
history
Oh,
in sort of the
yes, he was
motorcycle
in,
world? It seemed like you slipped into that. You felt very comfortable.
I love my
I think we've both ridden bikes in our past. Edward and I share the same story. When we had our firstborn, we sold the motorcycles. We got rid of the motorcycles. And that may have not been completely my decision, but I went with it, and it was a smart one. But I'll get on the back of a bike and take a scoot every now and again. I love motorcycles.
He looks like a badass.
How about
he
you,
would.
Edward?
Oh, no, I appreciate
Side note, Ru, I didn't know Edward James almost was still alive.
I know, right?
Oh, he's
him
amazing.
a
He was
lot.
in
And I used
Mayans.
to
He's
ride.
legendary.
Oh, of course he is.
I rode a lot, but I had to stop. I had my first son came, and then when my first son came, I quit smoking and riding motorcycles.
Well, that's why he's still alive, so good for
true.
That's a good one. So Art's the culture guy, of course, full interviews. We're going to be on here in 8 seconds. I would have played more, but and look at you. You keep getting these kind of like nice.
Yeah.
I know. I've
interviews.
got one coming up for Rings of Power, so I'm excited about that second season of that show.
For what? Rings of what?
Rings of Power, which is the Lord of the Rings series. On
Oh, okay. Because they did when Rings of Power started on Amazon. Obviously, it did not get the impact that Amazon was hoping for, right? And it's a big budget show, but they went all in and they had to commit to it. So they greenlit the second season before they even aired the first season, right?
Yeah, and actually, it's interesting. You watch the press releases for the show, and they spin it as it was their biggest premiere. You know what I mean? Like the way they say it, it wasn't the biggest premiere, but for their streaming platform, it was their biggest premiere.
Right.
So they have ways of doing that. But yeah, I mean, they spent, I think it was $500 million, to do it.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
an
it's just-
insane amount of money, more so than the original Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
Amazon was like, yeah, we got all the money in the world thanks to those tax breaks. Let's just, let's see how fast we can spend it. You want more Lord of the Rings content? And no one was actually screaming that they did.
Not after The Hobbit, no.
Yeah,
No,
dude. And even The Hobbit turned into a 12-hour opus, which didn't need to be. It could have been a 2-hour movie, and we talked about that. But there is a series coming to Apple Plus TV, Apple TV Plus. What would you call that?
So it's called Bad Monkey. And actually, so I think we might have teased this last week. And either you're a Vince Vaughn fan or not.
Right.
I personally like Vince ever since Swingers. I think, he makes interesting choices. I loved Wedding Crashers. I just think he's a funny guy. But he doesn't always find stuff that's in the perfect tone for him.
Right.
This is perfect tone for him. So this is a series on Apple TV. And it stars, him, Vince, as a guy that he was a detective at this. So there's,
On a scale from 1 to 10, how's
down in the Keys or something, and he gets crosswise with folks, and he gets busted down to restaurant inspector. Okay. So this is pretty much like being a traffic cop, right?
Yeah.
So, but then of course he ends up finding himself in the middle of all kinds of stuff. So think like Carl Hyacin, if you're a reader, sort of the quirky South Florida stuff, And so it's just there's a great cast. I watched a couple episodes. You see an arm there in the cooler.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for his sort of self-deprecating sort of goofiness, right? And it's a lot of fun. And so this is something worth your time. I've watched a couple episodes. I'm excited to get back to get some more of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think what happened with Vince Vaughn is I don't think he politically aligned with Hollywood, so he doesn't get the kind of love publicly that he, deserves from his body of work. And there's been plenty of projects that he's been a part of that actually I found, actually good and outside of his comfort zone. There was that horror film, Freaky Friday, I think he did, was good.
That was very good.
Yeah. So he does stuff that continues to surprise you where you're like, okay, Vince Vaughn. And, he was always kind of like a likable dude. So I'm glad to see him kind of like getting back to form and getting these kind of projects. Zach Braff is in this too.
Yeah. And it's interesting. He's a big guy. Like a lot of people don't he's like 6'4". He's like my size. And it's so funny to see him on screen because he like towers over people, right? Because a lot of the actors are short.
Yeah,
so
Hollywood's short. He can
may
beat
be
up
the biggest
everyone in
guy.
Hollywood.
He's probably the biggest guy acting. I mean, really. So
You think the tallest guy?
I think the tallest star. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
think we should do that. Well, that's a good search. Figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
who the tallest. And I'm talking major actors. I'm not talking like NBA players like LeBron. You can't.
For
count,
sure.
LeBron.
No cameo actors. We're
Yeah.
talking about leads,
Yeah.
I mean, Vince Vaughn would have to be up there for sure.
So
but
this is why you'll never see Vince Vaughn and Tom Cruise or Vince Vaughn and Dustin Hoffman, right?
Should remake Face Off with those two.
Mari's got a list.
I got a list.
All right, here we go.
Right, because Vince Vaughn's up there. He's 6'5".
Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to reveal that on the podcast broadcast. Back with your beef tip right after this. That's right. That's how I get you to go to my YouTube page. Check out.
Tease.
Okay, here. So what is it?
Okay, I don't know this guy, though. James Cromwell?
Yeah. He's,
You did good, pig.
Yeah, and he was in the
that guy.
First Contact Star.
Oh,
Star Trek.
yeah. So, he's been around. The
He's
classical actor.
6'7".
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Nicholas Braun?
Nick
German
Braun,
guy?
Was he? Is he? What's his name in Umbrella Academy? Is he?
Oh,
is he Luther? Is he?
You
maybe?
think? No, you think so?
The buff guy?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
He's a, I
Braun.
feel like I know that name.
Herb, have you seen
Oh, it's this guy from what's that one? With the celebrity people.
Succession.
Yes.
Succession. He's cousin Greg from Succession.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That guy.
Okay.
6'7".
He looks tall.
6'7". He looks tall in
He
the
has
show
a tall
too.
face.
Wow.
He does have a tall face. Stretched out tall face.
And then Tyler Perry.
Tyler
Perry's tall?
He's 6'5.5", I guess. Which I didn't think he was that tall.
Medea,
Then
that's tall.
Vince Vaughn.
That's a big lady.
That's a big lady. There you go. Top three. Real quick, I'm going to squeeze in this video clip. We showcased the weatherman who had a panic attack live on TV. And it was kind of hilarious because he's Australian. In case you missed it, well, a little something like this. Check it out. And that's Disturbed with Down with the Sickness. Welcome back to the show. It's Beefy Can Presents. And, I always like seeing Australian news clips, right? And so just because the way they sound, it's still funny to me.
Crikey.
Yeah. Australia. There was an Australian weatherman who was doing a news report, just reporting on the weather in Australia. And I guess it's a stressful gig because he has a series of, or a history of having panic attacks.
Ooh.
Now, we all feel anxiety from time to time, and, they could come out of nowhere, and they're very terrifying. Imagine you're on live television, and you start having one of these panic attacks, right? That's exactly what happened to Nate Byrne, who is an Australian weatherman, and it was all happening during ABC's News Breakfast, where he just started verbalizing, I need to stop for a second, and then said, that I occasionally get affected by panic attacks, and it's actually happening right now. Now, with this panic attack, as scary as it may seem, it's still going to sound funny because he's Australian, okay? But the cool thing is they kind of turned it into a segment on how to deal with the panic attack. So the news anchors were there to kind of help out Nate and talk him through this panic attack. And of course it went viral because it's the internet. And I'll show it to you and play it for you here. This is crazy. But this is courtesy of ABC News in Australia. Check this out.
Right through that part of the country, and we're going to see lots more rain in the days ahead.
No, he's got a mullet too, which bonus points. The dude is fantastic right off the bat. Yeah.
I'm actually going to need to stop for a second. Some of you may know that I occasionally get affected by some panic attacks, and actually that's happening right now. Lisa, maybe I could hand back to you.
You certainly can, Nate. And Nate wrote a great piece on the ABC Online website about this, and I reckon we might re-up.
You kind of hear him kind of freaking out in the background as well, and it's great that she's like plugging his work while he's literally feels like he's dying. I wonder if it was like Australia, it's like he's reporting on a hurricane or something. Like, what triggers it? Like a massive weather event where you're like, oh, this is going to be bad. And
in
then
a country where everything wants to kill you, too.
Yeah, right?
Just like you should be having those constantly.
Look, everyone is having panic attacks living in Australia, just waking up every day. Yeah. But watch, they'll turn this into a positive piece.
Up it, because it's fantastic that he has been so open and transparent about it. And the response when he first wrote about it and spoke about it was that everyone said, oh, thank God, Nate's not perfect. We thought he was perfect, but actually he's now sharing something. So we'll put that up and you can get a little bit of an understanding of.
Now, if you're starting to think to yourself, like, well, maybe this guy shouldn't be doing this, if he has an ailment that prevents him from doing his job, and honestly, the first comment that's number one on the list, meaning got the most likes, is he needs to resign and get a new job. So no empathy whatsoever.
Yeah. He's like, I don't watch this for the panic attacks.
Yeah.
I want my weather, mate.
Yeah, I remember back in my day, weathermen could sustain and just deliver the stupid weather for 90 seconds without having a full-blown meltdown.
Of some of the things that go on with our brains and our bodies when we're doing live television. Very pleased to say that our wonderful colleague Nate is back with us.
Hey, sorry if I gave anybody a bit of a scare there.
Yes, not really, because you've been very honest before about getting panic attacks.
I honestly,
I love it.
Right? Isn't
it's like
it
a whole
weird?
new segment now. All right, after your panic attack, let's talk about it.
Right. I feel like this guy's angling to make his career better and bigger name. I feel like my BS meter's going off a little bit.
No, it's so sweet.
Yeah, see,
you're the demographic.
Exactly, you are. It's the morning news, show and audience. So all he's doing is getting a bunch of moms and stuff to write little empathy letters, sympathy letters. I'm Team Nate, and all the dads who are working say I have panic attacks every day, but guess what I do? Continue to work to bring home food for my family. Nate.
On air, and it's so great for people to know that it can happen to anyone.
You gave me a scare because I thought I'd have to finish doing the weather report, and I'm no good at that.
Well, he was talking about Queensland, so I was going to step up.
Well, and today would be the day to do it because there is so much going on for Queensland. But thank you all so much for helping out.
I guarantee you, Nate used to wear a suit when he did the weather as well. But ever since he started to say he has a disability, he's able to dress whatever he wants, however he wants.
And he's like a porn director.
Yeah, a porn director. As always, let me just finish that clip there. We got about a minute. Herb, thank you for coming in, as always. I got a beef tip for you guys that we could leave you with before we do our podcast tomorrow with actor-comedian Ari Spears. Going to be back on the podcast. 3 podcast appearances in a row for Fridays, and next Friday, he's going to be in studio. But tomorrow, he'll be joining us via satellite, and we're going to have a good time with him. All right, well, it looks like if you want to live longer, you could be like the Greek island of longevity and eat garlic for long life. Yeah, there is an island in the Greek islands called Acheria, and they're renowned for their long lives of the people that live there. In fact, most people who live there live past 100 years old. And how do they do it? The answer might be garlic. Not only is it a staple of the food that they cook, but it's modern day Acarians swear by it for folk medicine. Basically, break an arm, put some garlic on it. You got a cold? Eat some garlic. Headache? Garlic. Can't get an erection? Garlic. Right?
Got a stalker vampire?
Garlic.
No. Of course.
Garlic is the answer for all. So, it's delicious as well. So, I mean, there are worse things to suggest to live forever. They're like, eat this deliciousness and live longer so you can eat more deliciousness. Sign me up. And there's your beef tip for you. We're out of here. Rob Nash up next. You go enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe, ride safe. And as always, rock local. Later.
When you wish.
Thank you guys for watching. As always, you're amazing. Arnaldo, we're talking about Alien, Romulus tomorrow morning and the 7 o'clock hour with Herb. And it's going to be awesome. That's all we know. Babu.